What's going on YouTube? I'm back with another video, and today I want to talk about what things should you consider before saying yes to that first CDL job. So I was clocking out of work today and I was just kind of thinking like, what should I make a video on? And this came to mind. So I got 5 points for y'all that I feel as though y'all should consider before saying yes or no to that prospective employer. My very first topic, I got my notes here, and it's what infrastructure is in place to help me keep, what infrastructure is in place to help keep you rolling down the road. So as we know, we're truck drivers. We get paid by the mile, more than likely not by the hour. We're done with that. It's by the mile. So if you're not covering distance, the wheels aren't turning, you're not getting paid. So if you're stuck, broke down on the side of the road, you're kind of screwed. So let's get into it. What I mean by infrastructure, I mean basically when it comes to blowouts, breakdowns, anything that will prohibit you from doing your job, which is just to drive. And I'm going to stress this because I've worked for employers who basically had me like some type of super driver. Mind you, I'm okay with a wrench, but I'm not technically mechanically inclined. I'm no diesel mechanic. I could put two and two together and get four. That's about it. Don't ask me to do any extra stuff, anything like that. So, what systems are in place to keep you running? Who's maintaining this truck? Who's doing all the maintenance? Making sure that things aren't breaking or whatever's about to break is getting fixed. What are the common wear problems that typically happen? They need to have the knowledge to keep this truck on the road. And if you have a breakdown, all right, well, who's your road service? Who's going to come out there and fix the truck when it's broken down on the side of the road? If you have a tire blowout, well, you don't want to have to be sitting there on Yelp or Google saying, man, who can help bring me a tractor tire in the middle of the night at 12 a.m.? Like, none of this stuff you should be dealing with. If anything, when you're in the interview, you want to ask these questions, right? You want to ask, what happens when I break down and it's 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm stuck out in the middle of the boondocks? Like, you want to always hear, oh, yeah, we got mechanics in place. We'll call a tow service. We have somebody to rescue you out of that situation. I'm not going to say like it's bad to be handy or mechanically inclined, but we get paid to drive and drop loads. And I know from my very first employer, I had a lot of stress, a lot of regret, just for the simple fact that they had me doing all different types of things that I was not getting paid for. And another thing is, if you have a breakdown, you should be getting paid detention. And detention basically is when you're held up and you can't do your job, well, you need to be getting paid a flat rate that's going to cover you for not being able to, do your thing and get rolling down the road. So consider that. That's my first topic, is what infrastructure is in place to keep me rolling down the road. My second one is basically what are the common challenges that you're going to face on the job. So if this is a manager you're speaking to and they're dealing with, 10, 20, 50 drivers, whatever the case may be, they should be getting phone calls all the time with problems that they're constantly dealing with, and they should know the answer of how that's being dealt with. So I would say, what are the common problems that drivers face on the job? What challenges, they're encountering, and basically, how are they helping them get out those jams? If they can't answer that question for you, they might not be the employer for you, because you don't want to be stuck out there stressed out and it's like you're on your own, because there's only so much you could do with a cell phone and a broke down truck. So yeah, what are the common challenges that you may encounter and how will they get resolved? My third one is kind of ties into the second one, but it's what training process is in place for you. So I know, say for example, my current fuel hauling job, my training process was so smooth, right? I had basically had no hiccups, no, I had no, like, it was the smoothest training process that you could ask for. But then I shit you not, my very first day, It was like I went to go load, and long story short, uh, the Scullies on my trailer, they did something like shut off the flow to the arms, which loaded the fuel onto the trailer, and I was unable to load using the trailer anymore. And I was sitting there stuck, screwed, not knowing what to do, kind of panicking, like, man, I don't know what's going on. Guys behind me who are waiting to load, they're like, what's the hold up? What you like? Come on, dude, I'm trying to go. Like, so luckily I had a trainer who would always answer the phone. He was extremely supportive, so shout out to him. He answered all my questions. He told me what to do. And long story short, he helped me get out those jams. So what kind of training process are you going to be doing? How long is the training process? You know what I'm saying? You definitely don't want to be in a situation where they're rushing you through training, or you might not even receive training at all. I know I've had jobs like that to where it's like they kind of just throw you in the deep end and say, figure it out. We're dealing with commercial vehicles here, guys. These vehicles are extremely heavy. If you're not confident in your abilities to handle these vehicles, you don't want to injure yourself or anybody else, or even worse, you can die, if we're putting it straightforward and plain. Every time you get in that truck, you need to think about the responsibility you have behind that wheel. So ask them about the training process. What is it like? If you got any special certifications you're gonna need for the job, like I know I did, are they gonna be helping you through this process? Do you need to come with certifications beforehand? Like, what are they expecting from you, and how are they gonna work with you to ensure your success in this job, to make sure your role is filled sufficiently? My next one, how should I say this? How long has the company been in business? And how long has the manager of that company been managing a logistics company? So I stress this because my very first employer, it was their very first time dealing with a trucking company. And I was just so glad that somebody was willing to give me a shot, that I would work anywhere. When I tell y'all, I dealt with the worst equipment, the worst kind of dispatch, the worst hours. Like I went through it all. So you want to make sure that your manager has some type of experience in dealing with drivers, dealing with dispatch, dealing with shop mechanics. Like, you want things in place. You want this transition into the trucking industry to be smooth as possible. I'm not saying they have to be perfect, but to know that you have someone on your side will make you feel a lot better when you're out there on the road, and when you have problems and issues come up. It really gives you the peace of mind to be able to say, all right, I could do this job, I can get it done. And it just makes things a lot smoother. So yeah. Now, another thing is, if you could get a reference from anybody you see who's walking around the yard or facility, just go up to them, ask them, like, hey, I'm doing an interview. How do you like the job? And I did it personally, and I actually became real good friends with the guy. He said, man, I love it. Like, it's cool. I've been working here for like 2 months, and it was a little bit complex at first, but they pushed me through the training. They got me right, and I'm doing the best that I could ask for. So yeah, try to get any references from any employees. And then you could also, I know you could also go on like Jobs Indeed, and push come to shove, there might be references of that city and terminal that you're looking to work at. There might be reviews of how people enjoyed that job. Yeah. So my next one is, what are the benefits like on the job? And I bring this up because it's like anybody could think, oh yeah, what are the benefits like? But I will say this. At my current employer, last year I was involved in a car accident where I was hurt. And long story short, I needed to take FMLA because I couldn't handle the equipment necessary to load the trailer with the fuel. It was too heavy, and the doctor basically told me, like, yeah, you trying to work is aggravating your injury, and you're gonna take way longer to heal than what you should. So, long story short, I told my boss that, and she said, unfortunately, if you're gone longer than 30 days, I'm gonna have to cut you. I'm gonna have to let you go. And when they told me that, and I had already been working with the company for around 2 years, it was kind of like, geez, like, I put in all this time, all this effort, worked these long nights, 70-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks, 12 to 14-hour shifts, and they'll cut me just like that. So it was kind of like a slap in the face. And also, it didn't make me feel like, oh, I could just take the time to rest and recover like I should. Instead, I was at home stressing like, man, I got to get back to where I was so that I don't lose my position and I don't miss out. So I want y'all to ask in advance, like, what are the benefits like? Of course, health, dental, all that good stuff. But it's like, what happens if you get injured on the job, off the job? Are they gonna work with you? Are they gonna be quick to let you go? These are all just things to consider. Um, so yeah, I want y'all to go into the mindset. Excuse me. I would like y'all to go into these interviews with the mindset of they're not only interviewing me, but I'm also interviewing them. I know for this employer in specific, I feel like I did a very thorough job of basically asking plenty of questions, finding out what I'm getting into before taking the job. And honestly, my employer, I remember her saying like, it seems like I'm interviewing her more than she's thoroughly interviewing me, which basically told me I had the job if it's mine. Excuse me. The job is mine if I'm wanting to take it. So hopefully that helped you guys out. Excuse me for all the stuttering. I'm still getting used to recording myself, man. It's a bit different, but hopefully this helped y'all out and gave y'all some tips. If y'all got any questions, drop them in the comments and let me know. I'd be so happy to answer them. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next video, man. Peace.